I never thought they would go this far. I never thought an HOA would touch my land. They said it was community property. They said I had signed the agreement. They built pumps. They brought trucks. They drilled on my soil while I was at work. They thought I was just another homeowner. Just another quiet guy who wouldn't fight back. Just another target for their power trip. They had no idea who I really was. No idea what I could do. No idea what was coming for them. And when they finally learned the truth, everything changed. Forever. Welcome back to HOA Stories. My name is Daniel. I live in a small quiet county on the edge of town. I work for the government. I inspect land. I protect property laws. And trust me, I know every trick HOAs try to pull. If you hate HOA power trips, if you love seeing corrupt boards exposed, hit that subscribe button. Write BOOO HOA in the comments. Share this video with your friends who ever dealt with an HOA nightmare. Alright, let's get into it. The day everything changed started quiet. Too quiet. I woke up like any normal morning. Coffee, boots, sun just coming up over the fields. My land looked peaceful. My driveway looked peaceful. My fences looked untouched. Or so I thought. I remember stepping outside and something felt off. The air felt heavier. The birds were loud, like they were warning me. And then I heard it. Engines rumbling, metal clanking, voices shouting. The kind of noise you only hear on construction sites. I followed the sound, walked down my property line, and then I saw it. A truck, another truck, a third truck, right on the open patch behind my barn. The part of my land nobody ever touched, or even walked on. And next to those trucks, I saw red metal, gas pumps, actual gas pumps, standing in the dirt like they grew there overnight. For a second I just froze. I stared. My brain refused to accept what I was looking at. A gas station. On my land. Not near my land. Not close to my land. Literally. On my land. And these people, these HOA geniuses, were acting like it was totally normal. One guy was dragging a hose. Another guy was drilling. Another was reading papers like it was a regular Monday morning. No one asked permission. No one informed me. No one left a note. I walked straight toward them. The biggest guy looked up. Sun hitting his sunglasses. He smirked. That smug HOA smirk I've seen 100 times. Morning, Daniel. You signed the agreement. We're upgrading the neighborhood amenities. I swear my blood boiled. Agreement? What agreement? This is my land. My property. You can't build anything here. He shrugged like I was bothering him. You're part of the HOA. We have expansion rights. It's all legal. We filed everything. You must have missed the email. The email. They always say that. Every HOA in the country. Whenever they screw someone. It was in the email. I stepped closer. Show me the papers. Show me the permits. Show me anything that says you can drill into my land. He didn't flinch. He didn't move. He just smirked again. Daniel, relax. This is going to raise property values. Everyone wants a community fueling station. Gas prices are crazy. We're doing a service. A service. A service on my land. A service without my consent. I felt my jaw clench, my fingers curl, my heart punching my ribs, because they had no idea. They had absolutely no clue who they were talking to. I took a slow breath. Who approved this? He tapped his clipboard. The board. Unanimous decision. Even had your signature. Right here. He turned the page. Showed me scribbles. A signature that looked nothing like mine. Not even close. They forged it. They actually forged it. I stared at the paper, then at him, then at the pumps standing tall in the dirt. Red metal gleaming, like they were mocking me. He spoke again. We already poured the foundation. Tomorrow we install lines. End of week it's up and running. Try not to get in the way. Try not to get in the way. I almost laughed. Because right there, right in that moment, he had no idea. He just gave me my power back. I stepped forward. So close our boots almost touched. You forged my signature. You trespassed on my property. You started construction without permits. You violated state codes. And you think I can't stop you? He scoffed. You're just a homeowner. Good luck taking us to court. HOA wins every time. I smiled. The first smile of the morning. Because he still didn't know. Still didn't understand. Still didn't realize who was standing in front of him. Tell me something, I said. If someone from the county showed up, right now, and checked these pumps, these trucks, these drills, would your board survive it? Would your permits survive it? Would your signatures survive it? He frowned. What are you talking about? I leaned in. Do you even know what my job is? He blinked. No answer. Just confusion. Just fear slipping through the cracks. And that was the moment, the exact second, the HOA realized they messed with the wrong guy. Now let me ask you, if an HOA built a whole gas station on your land, what would you do first? Would you confront them? Would you record everything? Or would you call the county office and drop the hammer? Tell me in the comments. The HOA guy kept staring at me, waiting, confused, trying to guess what I meant, trying to read my face. I stayed calm, too calm. That kind of calm that makes the other person nervous. That kind of calm that says something is coming. I looked around slowly, at the trucks, at the pumps, at the workers who suddenly pretended they were busy, at the hoses lying on my land like vines choking the dirt. Then I stepped closer, so close he had to lean back a little. That was the moment I felt his confidence dip. Just a little, just enough. You still didn't answer me, I said quietly. What would happen if a county inspector showed up right now? He blinked. He swallowed. Then he forced a laugh. Why would they show up? We did everything by the book. We are the HOA. We know the rules. I nodded slowly. Funny thing, most HOAs think they know the rules. But most forget one small detail. He crossed his arms. What detail? I stepped back and looked at the ground. The pipes. The drilling marks. The disturbed soil. The exact violations my job trained me to spot. Violations I had fined entire construction companies for. I looked him right in the eye. This property, right here, falls under county protection, and the owner has the authority to request an emergency inspection. Anytime, any second, any moment he wants. He stiffened, just a little, like a tree hit by wind, strong on the outside, cracked on the inside. He tried to smile. You wouldn't do that. It would slow down progress. Your neighbors want this station. Everyone wants this. This is good for the community. The workers behind him stopped pretending. They stood quietly, watching us, waiting for his next move, waiting for mine. I took another step closer, my voice low, controlled. I want something else. He squinted. What do you want? I pointed at the pumps, at the trucks, at the foundation they poured on my land. At minimum, respect. At maximum, my land back. He shook his head. You can't stop us. The board voted. We have rights. We have the power here. I smiled. That same smile I gave him earlier. The smile that scared him. The smile that made him wonder. The smile that said, you messed with the wrong man. I leaned in. I don't think you understand. This land, this ground, this dirt you built on, is not part of your HOA. It never was. It never will be. It is protected by county law. And you forged my signature. Which means... I paused. Let the silence sink in. Let him feel the weight. Let the workers whisper behind him. He asked quietly. Which means what? I stepped back, took out my phone, opened my ID, held it up to his face. He froze. His jaw tightened. His eyes widened. His shoulders tensed. The workers stopped breathing. Because right there, right in front of him, was the badge he never expected to see. County Land Inspector. Active. Authorized. With full power to shut down construction. On the spot. Yeah, I said calmly. That kind of inspector. He whispered. No way. No way. You never told us. You never said anything. I nodded. You never asked. You assumed. You thought I was some quiet guy you could push around. You thought building a gas station on my land would be easy. You thought forging a signature would slide right by. His breathing turned sharp, quick, like someone running from something they created. I took a slow breath. This whole project, every pump, every pipe, every hole you drilled, is now a violation. You didn't pull permits. You didn't request clearance. You didn't file environmental safety forms. You didn't even check land ownership. He stepped back. Look, Daniel, we can fix this. Let's talk. Let's not bring the county into it. I laughed. Soft, sharp, cold. The county is already involved. Because I am the county. The workers exchanged looks. Fear, guilt, panic. No one knew what to do. The HOA officer raised his hands. Daniel, please, let's think about this. I walked slowly around him, inspecting the pumps, touching the metal, kicking the dirt lightly, like a real inspection, because it was. You know what I think, I said. I think this whole setup needs a shutdown, a full investigation, maybe even charges. Forgery is a big deal. Trespassing is a big deal. Illegal construction, even bigger deal. He grabbed his hat, pressed it down. Look, we can talk numbers. How much do you want? What will make this go away? I stopped, turned slowly, stared at him. You're trying to bribe a county inspector. Right now. In front of witnesses. He froze, hard, like someone turned him into stone. The workers stepped back. Not with him. Away from him. That was the moment he realized. Everyone saw. Everyone heard. Everyone understood. He wasn't the boss anymore. I leaned in one last time. Tell me something. My voice soft. Dangerous. Curious. Was this worth it? Was building a gas station on my land worth everything you're about to lose? He didn't answer. He couldn't. Now let me ask you something. If you were in my place, would you shut them down immediately? Or would you let them sweat a little longer? Tell me in the comments. He didn't speak, didn't blink, didn't even shift his weight. It was like someone unplugged him and left him standing on my land like a broken sign. And I let him stand there, let him drown in the silence, let him feel every second of the mistake he made. I wanted him to feel it, because HOAs only learn when they feel something real. Fear, pressure, the truth. I walked past him slowly, toward the pumps, toward the heavy metal they planted like a parasite in my soil, toward the workers who were pretending they weren't watching. One of the younger workers stepped forward. He looked like he hadn't slept, or maybe he had slept too much under stress. Sir, we didn't know. They said it was approved. We were told the landowner signed everything. We didn't mean to be part of something illegal. I watched the kid's hands, shaking. Not guilty, just scared. Not fear of punishment. Fear of being dragged into someone else's stupidity. I nodded. You're fine. You all are. Grab your gear. Leave the property. Don't touch the equipment again. You're not the problem here. The relief on their faces hit like a wave. They didn't even argue. They packed fast. Not neatly. Not carefully. Just fast. One guy didn't even tie his boots. Another forgot half his tools. No one cared. They backed off my land like the ground would swallow them whole. The HOA officer watched them scatter. His confidence shrinking. His ego folding. His entire authority crumbling right in front of him. He turned back toward me, trying to stand tall, trying to pull himself together. But his voice cracked. Daniel, tell me what you want. Just tell me what to do. We can fix this. We can make this right. I tapped the side of the nearest pump. The hollow thud echoed. Cold. Mechanical. Wrong. What I want first is honesty. Why my land? Why this spot? Why did you pick this exact place to build your little illegal project? He looked at his clipboard, then at me, then at the dirt. It wasn't personal. The board picked it. They said this was the best location for expansion. Flat land. Easy access. Close to the main road. We wanted something modern. Something the neighborhood could brag about. I nodded slowly. Okay, so that explains the location. Now explain the part where you faked my signature. Because you didn't just make a mistake. You committed a crime. His face turned a shade of pale I didn't know humans could produce. He swallowed so hard I heard it over the wind. We tried contacting you. We sent 3 notices. You didn't attend meetings. You didn't read the orientation packet. You didn't return calls. The board said you were ignoring everything. They said you didn't care about the HOA. So we assumed. We believed it wouldn't matter if we moved forward. I kept my voice calm, neutral, sharp. So you forged my name. Because I didn't show up to your meetings. He rubbed the back of his neck, eyes darting everywhere like he was trying to find a version of the story that made him look less guilty. We thought we were helping. We thought you wouldn't mind. We thought the county wouldn't check. We thought you were just, a regular homeowner. There it was. The real truth. Wrapped in arrogance. Served cold. He thought I was no one. A nobody. Someone he could push. Someone he could control. Most HOAs think that way. They feed on the quiet people. They prey on the ones who don't yell. They assume silence means weakness. I took a slow breath, then leaned in just a little. You know who I am now, so your story better stay honest. Because this land isn't governed by your HOA rules. It is protected by county law. And you violated every rule in the book. His eyebrows tightened. What rules? We followed our procedure, our guidelines. We even took a board vote. I laughed quietly. You don't get it. Your board vote does not override county authority. You can't build on land you don't own. You can't alter the ground without permits. You can't bury lines. You can't install pumps. You can't bring fuel tanks. And you definitely can't forge signatures. And expect the county to look the other way. He took a shaky breath. Then another. His hands trembled slightly. His confidence gone. Daniel, look, we don't have to escalate it. Tell me how to fix this. Tell me what you want. Money. Resources. Something for your property. A deal. Anything. We can negotiate. Just don't bring the county into this. I stepped forward. You're trying to bribe me. Right here. Out in the open. On my land. In front of witnesses. Witnesses who already heard everything you said. He froze. Completely. Like someone turned him into a statue of bad decisions. I walked around him slowly, inspecting everything. Just like the real inspector I was. The pipes. Illegal. The pump bases. Unregistered. The trench in the dirt. No safety barrier. No soil testing. No environmental clearance. If they had tried this anywhere else, they would have been shut down already. I touched the foundation. Still wet in some spots. A sloppy job. Done fast. Done cheap. Done by people who thought no one was watching. And then I turned back toward him. You didn't just cheat the system. You cheated the community. You lied to them. Told them you were improving the neighborhood. While breaking half the laws in the county. He held his head. I didn't mean for this to happen. The board pressured me. They wanted results. They said we needed something big. Something that would make us look powerful. Like the HOA was doing real work. I stared at him. You wanted power. You wanted control. And you picked the wrong land. The wrong guy. And the wrong day to play a game you can't win. The wind pushed through the field. Grass bending. Silence settling over everything again. Every pump. Every truck. Every mistake he made. Stood there like a giant red confession. I stepped closer. Lowering my voice. You forged my name. You trespassed. You broke county law. Tell me, was it worth it? Was this gas station worth the fines? The charges? The board investigation? Everything you're about to lose? He didn't answer. He couldn't. Now let me ask you something. If your HOA built a whole gas station on your land, would you destroy the project immediately? Or would you let the HOA hang itself a little longer? Tell me in the comments. He stood there, silent, stiff, like a man waiting for a sentence that hadn't been spoken yet. His eyes darted between the pumps, the trucks, the dirt he claimed as community property, and me, the one person he shouldn't have messed with. The workers were gone. The noise was gone. Only the wind stayed, carrying small dust swirls around the unfinished foundation, like tiny ghosts of the mistakes they made. I took a few slow steps across the site, letting my boots sink into the disturbed soil, letting him see every detail I noticed, letting him feel every second of the quiet. Quiet hurts people like him. Quiet makes their lies louder. He finally broke. What happens now? Just tell me. I need to know where this is going. I didn't answer right away. I crouched near the trench, looked at the exposed pipes. Cheap materials. Wrong size. Wrong angle. Wrong everything. Tell me something, I said slowly. Who installed these pipes? Because whoever did it didn't know what they were doing. He hesitated. The board found a contractor willing to work fast. We needed quick progress. So we went with the cheapest option. It wasn't my decision. It was the board. All of them. I just supervised the start of construction. I stood up. Supervised. You supervised illegal work. On land you didn't own. With forged signatures. No permits. Cheap labor. Cheap pipes. Cheap everything. And you still think this is fixable. He rubbed his forehead. I know how it looks. I know we made mistakes. I know we crossed lines. But please, let me talk to the board. Let me explain it. Let me tell them you're open to discussing a solution. I raised an eyebrow. Are you guessing? Or are you panicking? His voice cracked. Both. Mostly panicking. Mostly because I know the board will blame me. They always blame me. When something goes wrong, they make me deal with homeowners. They make me deal with complaints. They make me deal with you. I tapped my phone lightly. Not unlocking it, just tapping it, like a silent warning. You forged my name. You trespassed. You started construction. You built on county-protected land. You lied to workers. You lied to the board. You lied to the neighborhood. And now you want me to help you explain it away. He swallowed. Hard. I don't want to explain it away. I want a chance to fix it before the county steps in. Before the board throws me under the bus. Before the neighbors demand a vote to remove us. I know what's coming. I can feel it. Just tell me what to do. Tell me how to make this right. I walked toward the red pumps. Laid my hand on the metal. Cold. Unwelcoming. The kind of cold that soaks straight into your bones. You know what the problem is, I said. You don't think this land matters. You thought it was empty, worthless, and used. So you took it. Because that's what your HOA does. You take things that don't belong to you. You change things you don't understand. You force rules on people who never asked for them. He took a small step closer. Not threatening. Just desperate. Daniel, please, we can fix this. Just tell me where to start. What do you want first? Removal. Clean up. An apology from the board. Money for damages. I'll convince them. They will listen if I tell them the inspector is angry. I looked at the horizon, the open fields, the sky stretching far, unbothered by the HOA's foolishness. This neighborhood, this land, never needed pumps, never needed a gas station, never needed an HOA to improve it. You know what I want first, I said. Take responsibility. He blinked. Responsibility for what exactly? All of it. Or just the forgery, because the forgery was not completely my idea. The board pressured me. They said we needed something bold, something impressive, something that made the HOA look powerful. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. I stared at him. You know what real power is? Power is not forcing a gas station onto someone's land. Power is not forging names. Power is not scaring people with rules. Real power is knowing the rules yourself, knowing the laws, knowing the consequences, and choosing to follow them. You didn't just break the rules. You erased them. You deleted them. So you could build something no one asked for. He pressed both hands on his knees. Exhausted, worn, like the weight of everything he'd done finally hit him. Please, Please, tell me what you want me to do. I swear I will do it. Just tell me how to fix it. I can't face the board with this. They will destroy me. I exhaled slowly. First, you're going to call an emergency board meeting. Right now. Today. All of them need to show up. President, treasurer, secretary, every voting member. He froze. You want the whole board here, on this site, in front of the pumps, with you standing here, with your badge, in front of the evidence, in front of the workers watching us, in front of everything we did wrong. I nodded. Yes, all of them. No one escapes this. Not one member of your little power club walks away clean. He looked sick. Actually sick. Color draining from his face like someone pulled the plug. Daniel, they will lose their minds. The president will panic. The treasurer will scream. The secretary will blame me. The whole board will fall apart in front of you. Is that what you want? Chaos. A total collapse of the HOA. I took one slow step toward him. Why not? You already collapsed my land. You collapsed my morning. You collapsed the law. Maybe it's time the HOA collapsed too. Maybe it's time the board finally sees what they built. And what they broke. And who they messed with. He wiped sweat from his forehead. The kind of sweat people only get when the truth is too heavy to hide anymore. Fine. I'll call them. But they won't come. They'll refuse. They always refuse emergency meetings. They only listen to the president. I smiled slightly. Then call the president first. Tell her it's urgent. Tell her it's serious. Tell her I'm involved. She will understand what that means. She knows my name. He froze again. You know the president. How? What do you mean? Why would the HOA president know your name? I didn't answer. Not yet. I let the silence do the talking. Because silence can shake people more than shouting. He pulled out his phone. Hands shaking. Fingers trembling as he scrolled to her number. I'll call her. I'll tell her you want the board here. I'll tell her we're in trouble. But Daniel, if she finds out how bad this is, she will destroy us. All of us. Every single board member will go down. Are you sure this is what you want? I looked at the pumps, the trucks, the forged signature, the trench on my land. Call her. Bring them here. Let them face what they built. Because this time, I won't be the quiet homeowner they think I am. They wanted power. Now they will see real power. He lifted the phone. Hands still shaking. Okay, I'm calling her. I'm calling the president. Right now. Now let me ask you something. If the entire HOA board was about to show up on your land, to face an illegal project they built, would you let them talk? Or would you let them crash into their own disaster without warning? Tell me in the comments. He held the phone in his shaking hand, fingers trembling against the cracked screen, sweat dripping down the side of his face. Like calling the HOA president was harder than facing the law itself. I didn't rush him, didn't pressure him, didn't say a word. I just stood there, on my land, watching the man who forged my name prepare to face his own board. He swallowed, hard, then finally pressed the call button. The phone rang, once, twice, 3 times, then a sharp click. Her voice came through, cold, sharp, clean, the kind of voice that cuts straight through a person. This better be important. We have a budget meeting. Why are you calling me? He stuttered. I need you to come to lot 14. Urgent situation. You need to see this. You need to bring the entire board. Her tone changed. Not softer. Just colder in a different way. What situation? Why are you panicking? You're supposed to handle field issues. Not bother me every time a homeowner cries about dirt. He looked at me. Then at the pumps. Then back at his phone. It's not a complaint. It's construction. It's the gas project. Something happened. He's here. Daniel is here. You need to come. Now. There was a pause. A long one. A dangerous one. The kind of silence that means someone is calculating. Finally she exhaled. Slow. Sharp. Did he cause problems again? I told you he's the difficult type. He always gives us trouble. He never cooperates. What did he do now? His voice broke. He didn't do anything. We did. We built on his land. He didn't sign. The signature wasn't real. And he's not just a homeowner. He's county. The phone went quiet again. Too quiet. Then her voice hit like a hammer. You idiot. You absolute idiot. You told us he signed. You told us the land was cleared. You told us everything was legal. Do you have any idea what this means? Do you understand what the board is facing? Do you know what kind of disaster you created? He closed his eyes. I know. Just please. Come here. We need to talk. All of us. Her voice dropped. Cold. Flat. Deadly. I am 10 minutes away. Do not touch anything. Do not talk further. And do not let him leave. The call ended. He slowly lowered the phone. His legs shaking like the ground wasn't stable. Even though the ground was mine. Not his. I crossed my arms. You didn't tell her everything. You didn't tell her about the pipes, the forgery, the missing permits, the environmental violations, the bribe attempt, the board's pressure, or your little stunt trying to outsmart county law. He wiped sweat from his forehead, his breathing sharp. I'll tell them. When they get here, I will tell them everything. But please, don't bring county enforcement yet. Let me handle the board first. Let me survive this moment. I beg you. I walked past him, toward the main road, toward the place where the HOA board would arrive. The sun sat high above, casting shadows long enough to make the scene look like a showdown. He followed behind me, not beside me, behind me, like someone walking behind a judge. We stood there, waiting, 10 minutes, then 12, then 15. A black SUV appeared first. New, shiny, expensive, of course. Then a silver sedan. Then a small hatchback. All three parked crooked along the dirt road, as if they were in too much of a rush to care about lines. The HOA president stepped out first. A woman in her 50s. Perfect hair, perfect blazer, perfect posture. Everything about her screamed, I run this neighborhood. I control everything. The treasurer got out next. Tiny, angry-looking, the type who fines people for having grass half an inch too tall. The secretary came last, holding a giant binder, probably full of rules no one follows. They all walked toward me, not fast, not slow, just with that HOA confidence, that false power, like they owned the air they breathed. The president stopped 3 feet from me, looked me up and down, then at the pumps, then back at me. Daniel, we have a problem, and we want to resolve it quickly, without unnecessary escalation. We apologize for any misunderstanding, and we are ready to offer compensation for temporary inconvenience. I didn't speak. Not yet, she continued, her tone smooth, practiced. We understand the signature might not match your usual handwriting, and we are willing to correct it immediately. If you sign today, we will make this project official, and you will be paid generously. You won't lose anything, and the community will benefit greatly. I almost laughed. Almost. I glanced at the officer. He looked like he might faint. I looked back at the president. You want me to sign the forgery? Today. Right now. To fix your illegal project. She nodded. Yes, exactly. If we correct the paperwork, this becomes a clean project, and everything moves forward without disruption. You're a reasonable man. You know what's best for the community. Can we count on your cooperation? I stepped closer, very close. Her smile never moved, but her eyes tightened, just slightly. You built on county-protected land, without permits, with forged documents, with unsafe materials, with no environmental clearance. And you think a signature fixes that? The treasurer cut in. Don't make this dramatic. It's dirt. It's land. No one cares about dirt. We improved it. You should be thankful. Some people would love a gas station near their home. You're being difficult for no reason. I turned my head slowly, very slowly. Her confidence cracked the moment our eyes locked. You broke the law. On my property. And I am difficult, she stuttered. Well, I mean, you know how HOA systems work. We vote, we upgrade, we decide what the community needs. This wasn't personal. I pointed at the pumps. Forging my name is personal. Trespassing is personal. Building a gas station on someone's land is very personal. The secretary flipped her binder open, desperate to save herself. We can adjust the bylaws. We can amend the maps. We can retroactively classify your soil as community space. It's possible. We've done it before. We're flexible. We can work something out. Just sign the forms. And this all goes away. Their arrogance, their confidence, their insanity. I could feel it in the air. I reached slowly into my pocket. Their eyes followed my hand, every one of them tense, expecting anger, expecting resistance. But when they saw what I pulled out, their faces drained. My badge, county inspector, active, authorized, field clearance. The president's voice cracked. Daniel, wait, let's discuss this. Let's stay calm. We can work together. We can fix this without. I held the badge toward them, not touching them, not threatening, just showing them. This is not an HOA issue. This is a county violation. This is a legal violation. This is a criminal violation. And you will answer for every inch of dirt you moved. The treasurer stepped back. The secretary clutched her binder. The president whispered, "Oh no. Oh God. We didn't know. We didn't know who you were. He didn't tell us." I looked at the officer. He froze. He couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't hide. The president spun toward him. "You lied to us. You ruined us. You forged documents. You dragged us into a criminal case. You idiot. You absolute idiot." He opened his mouth. No words. Nothing. I looked at all of them, one by one, their faces breaking, their panic building, their power dissolving. You wanted a gas station. Now you get a full investigation. All of you, not just him. The whole board. Every signature. Every vote. Every decision. They didn't breathe. They didn't blink. Now let me ask you something. If your entire HOA board stood in front of you shaking, begging, panicking, would you show mercy? Or would you let the investigation burn the whole board to the ground? Tell me in the comments. They stood frozen. All 3 board members. The mighty HOA leaders who spent years bullying homeowners. Suddenly shaking on my land like children caught stealing from the wrong house. The president tried to steady her breath. Tried to pull back her authority. Tried to pretend she still controlled this situation. "Daniel, let's not act out of anger. We can still manage this. We can still negotiate. We can reach a mutual understanding. You don't have to involve the county officially." I didn't answer. Not yet. I let the silence sink into them. Let the weight of what they did settle on their shoulders. Let them feel what happens when power is taken away. The treasurer stepped forward, her voice thin, almost trembling. "We didn't know. We didn't know who you were. We thought you were the type to stay quiet. You never came to meetings. You never participated. We assumed you had no interest in the community. We thought you wouldn't care about the expansion project." I looked at her expensive shoes covered in my dirt, at her perfect hair, at the panic in her eyes. "You didn't think I would care about my own land. You didn't think I would care about forged signatures. You didn't think I would care about illegal construction. You didn't think I would notice a gas station built behind my barn." She opened her mouth, closed it, looked down at the ground. The secretary flipped pages in her binder, hands shaking, sweat dropping onto the paper. "Daniel, listen. We can reverse the vote. We can withdraw the plan. We can remove the pumps. We can tear out the foundation. We can undo all of it. We just need time. We need cooperation. We need a path forward." I took a slow step toward them. "One thing you don't need is my cooperation. Because your choices, your votes, your forged signatures, already crossed every line possible." The president lifted her chin. trying one last attempt at control. We didn't mean to hurt you. We didn't mean to cause trouble. We were trying to modernize the community. If you report us, the HOA will collapse. This neighborhood will collapse. People will blame you. Do you want that on your conscience? I stared at her. Long. Hard. You're trying to guilt an inspector after committing half a dozen violations on protected land. You're worried about the HOA reputation, not the law, not the truth, not the people you swore to serve. Her expression shifted from fake kindness to raw panic. Daniel, please, if the county opens a case, we could lose everything. They could remove us, fine us, even press charges. We're begging you. Tell us what to do. Tell us how to avoid this. The officer broke in, his voice cracking like thin ice. Tell him you're sorry. Tell him you didn't mean it. Tell him anything. Just fix this. Please. I can't lose my job. I can't lose everything. I made a mistake. A stupid mistake. But I'm not evil. I swear I'm not. I walked toward him, slowly, until he couldn't look away. You forged my name. You trespassed. You built on my land. You bribed me. And now you say you're not evil. Explain that to me. He shook his head. I was pressured. They pushed me. The board demanded progress. They threatened to remove me if I didn't produce results. I didn't want to lose my position. I didn't want to be humiliated. I thought I had no choice. The president snapped. Oh, please, don't put this on us. You told us the land was cleared. You told us he agreed. You told us everything was legal. You lied to us. You lied to the entire board. You dragged us into this mess. Not the other way around. He turned toward her, anger building, fear mixing with resentment. You always blame me. Every time something goes wrong, you throw me under the bus. You want to act powerful, but you never take responsibility. You just yell at me and hide behind rules you barely understand. The treasurer jumped in. Oh, so now you suddenly care about rules. Where was that energy when you were forging paperwork? Where was that when you skipped permit checks? Where was that when you started drilling on someone's land without permission? Their argument grew louder, heated, chaotic. I watched them, these powerful HOA figures, now screaming at each other on my property, pointing fingers, blaming each other, turning their arrogance inward, eating themselves alive. The secretary dropped her binder, papers scattering in the wind. This is insane. All of you. We could have avoided all of this if we just followed the damn rules, if we just sent proper notices, if we just checked land ownership, if we just acted like a normal HOA, not a dictatorship. The president snapped toward her. Shut up. We are the HOA. We are allowed to make decisions. We are allowed to shape the community. We are allowed to. Cut her off. A calm voice slicing through the chaos. You are not allowed to break the law, not allowed to forge names, not allowed to steal land, not allowed to bully homeowners, not allowed to destroy property you don't own. And you are definitely not allowed to intimidate an inspector. They went silent, every one of them, their breathing heavy, their pride shattered. The president spoke first, soft, desperate. What do you want from us? Tell us. Anything. We will agree. Just don't report us. Please. I paused, looked at the pumps, at the dirt, at the damage, at the destroyed trust, at the destroyed dignity. What I want is accountability, total, complete, honest accountability. The treasurer trembled. What does that mean? Exactly. What are we agreeing to? I stepped closer, so close they had to look up. It means you will shut down every project you forced on this neighborhood. You will reverse every shady rule you passed, every fine you issued unfairly, every vote you manipulated, every decision you made for your own benefit, every homeowner you threatened, every person you pushed. And you will do it publicly, in front of the community, not behind closed doors. The president's face tightened. But Daniel, that destroys the entire structure of our authority. I nodded. Good. The officer swallowed. You're asking for the HOA to be rebuilt from scratch, to be reformed, to make everything transparent, to let the homeowners vote, to give up our control. Yes, the secretary whispered. That would change everything. Completely. We would lose our power. We would lose our influence. People would question every choice we ever made. They might remove us. They might hate us. I nodded again. They should. They should question you. They should hold you accountable. They should know what you did behind their backs. They should see how far you went to control this community. The president took a shaky step back. You're asking for a public confession, a public surrender, a public humiliation. That's what you really want. I exhaled. Slow, steady. What I want is justice, not revenge, not destruction. Justice. She looked down, shoulders heavy, voice smaller than I ever imagined. What if the community turns on us? What if they vote us out? What if they demand we leave the board? What if? Cut her off. Then you accept it, because that's what leadership is. Facing consequences, accepting responsibility, not hiding behind rules you wrote yourself. The treasurer sat on a rock, head in her hands. The secretary sank to her knees gathering papers in the dirt. The officer stared at the pumps, like they were graves, not machines. The president stood silent, defeated, broken by the truth she tried to avoid. I stepped back, looked at all of them. You wanted power, now you get truth. You wanted control, now you get consequences. You wanted to lead, now you get accountability. They didn't respond. Now let me ask you something. If your HOA board was forced to confess everything they did, would you forgive them? Or would you vote them out without mercy? Tell me in the comments. They stood there, silent, exposed. 3 HOA board members and 1 desperate officer. All of them looking smaller than I had ever seen them. The treasurer clutched her head. The secretary tried to organize papers with shaking hands. The president looked at the ground like she was staring into her own grave. And the officer, the one who forged my signature, looked like he was waiting for thunder to fall on his head. The wind shifted, soft, cold, carrying the smell of disturbed soil and fear. I took one slow step back, letting the moment settle, letting them feel the weight of what they had done, letting them understand there was no easy way out. The president finally lifted her head, eyes hollow, voice drained of its usual sharpness. Daniel, if we do everything you said, if we make the public announcement, if we reverse the rules, if we admit the truth, will that be enough? Will that stop the county investigation? Will you give us a chance to survive this? I didn't answer immediately, because this wasn't just about me. Not anymore. This was about every homeowner they harassed, every fine they issued unfairly, every threat they made, every lie they told, every ego-driven rule they created to hide their own insecurity. I looked at each of them, the president, the treasurer, the secretary, and the officer. You didn't just build a gas station on my land. You built an empire of fear in this neighborhood. You used rules as weapons, fines as intimidation, power as a shield. You treated homeowners like children, or worse, like property, not people. The treasurer whispered, We know, we messed up. We didn't think it would go this far. We thought we were improving the community. We thought people needed structure. We thought strict rules made everything better. I shook my head. No, you didn't want structure. You wanted control. You wanted to feel important. You wanted people to fear you. And you used the HOA to feed that feeling. The secretary lowered her eyes, a tear falling onto her binder. We let it get too far. We let the president decide too much. We let the rules pile up. We let complaints get ignored. We stopped listening to homeowners. We stopped caring. We became the thing everyone hates. And we didn't even see it happening. The president stiffened, her voice cracking. We did what we thought was right. We followed the bylaws. We followed the procedures we wrote. We acted within the framework. I stepped closer. So you wrote the rules, broke the rules, then hid behind the same rules. That's not leadership. That's fear dressed as authority. Her eyes glistened, something she probably hadn't shown in years. Emotion. Real emotion. What do you want from us? Tell us clearly. Do you want us gone? Do you want us removed from the board? Do you want the HOA dissolved? Do you want the gas station bulldozed? Do you want us to leave the neighborhood entirely? Just say it. Say exactly what you want. I let the silence settle. Long. Heavy. Then I spoke. I want the truth in the open. I want the homeowners to decide your fate. Not me. Not the county. Not the board. The people you claimed to represent. The people you ignored for years. They get the final word. The officer stepped forward. Daniel, they'll destroy us. They'll vote us out. They'll shame us. They'll file complaints. They'll drag us online. They'll cut him off. That's not my problem. That's their right. You took their rights away for years. Now you give it back. All of it. Today. The president's voice dropped, barely above a whisper. What do we say when we gather them? What do we tell the community? What do we admit? How do we even begin? I pointed at the pumps, at the dirt, at the foundation they built like a monument to their own arrogance. You start with this. Tell them the truth. You built an illegal gas station on a homeowner's land, with forged signatures, without permits, without approval, against county law, all for power, not progress. Then tell them everything else. Every manipulation, every lie, every rule you passed behind closed doors, every fine you issued without cause, every decision you made without a vote. They froze. You want us to admit all of that. Everything. All of it. Yes. The secretary's hands shook, papers falling to her feet. That will destroy us. Completely. The entire board. The entire HOA structure. It will never be the same after that. Nothing will survive this. Are you sure this is what you want? I nodded. Nothing should survive. If it was built on lies, fear, and stolen land. The president sank onto a crate. Her blazer dusty. Her pride gone. I never thought it would end this way. I thought I was helping people. I thought order made things better. I thought rules brought safety. And now I see. We built a prison. Not a community. We made people afraid. And we called it leadership. I crouched down. Met her eye level. The community didn't need you to control them. They needed you to respect them. You failed them. Now you fix it. Or the county will fix it for you. And that will be worse. Much worse. She nodded slowly, like someone finally accepting a truth too heavy to deny. We will gather everyone. Today. We will tell them. Everything. We will confess. We will step down if they want us to. We will dismantle the rules. We will release the homeowners from ridiculous regulations. We will rebuild the HOA from scratch. Transparent. Honest. Fair. If the community wants it. I stood. Looked at all of them. And the gas station. Every pump. Every pipe. Every piece of metal. Gets removed from my land. Completely. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Before the sun sets. I want this land exactly as it was. Not 1 inch disturbed. Not one mark left behind. The officer nodded quickly. Too quickly. I'll handle it. I'll call the workers. I'll get the equipment. We'll tear it all out. We'll clean everything. We'll return the soil. We'll fix the damage. I promise. We'll make it right. I turned toward him. You can start with the foundation. Now. Not later. Now. While the board prepares the meeting. While the community gathers. While the truth gets ready to come out. He grabbed his tools. Rushed to the pumps. Hands moving fast. Like he was trying to outrun a storm. One he created himself. The other board members stood quietly. Shaken. Broken. But listening. I looked at the open sky. The field. My land. Finally mine again. And for the first time. In a long time. I felt peace. Real peace. Not silence. Not weakness. Just calm. The kind you get after a long fight. The kind that feels earned. The president stepped forward. Her voice steady, soft, sincere. Daniel, thank you for not destroying us completely, for letting the community decide, for giving us a chance to make this right. We don't deserve it, but we will try to be better. If they let us keep our roles, we will change. We promise. I nodded. Promises don't matter. Actions do. Show them. Don't tell them. She lowered her head. We will. I swear we will. I walked away, toward my house, toward my porch. The sound of metal being torn from my land behind me. The sound of an HOA finally facing truth. Finally facing consequences. And I felt something strong in my chest. Not anger. Not revenge. Just clarity. People think HOAs are all-powerful, unbreakable, untouchable. But the truth is simple. They only have power when people let them. I didn't, and they fell apart. Now let me ask you something. If your HOA broke the law, built on your land, lied to your face, would you have stopped them like I did? Or would you have burned the whole board down without mercy? Tell me in the comments.